case in point, way back you got Yamu or whatever who had his own filler episode with the
Yeah, I
lake or
remember that.
whatever.
That was
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, you've got that, and then you've got certain characters getting their own little backstory, like the tons of great filler there to explain things. We didn't get that with the Universe 6 arc, bro. We still don't know who they are. Like, and I feel like there's so many missed opportunities in Super, just like how there were so many missed opportunities in GT. And I mean, it's one of those things where I'm conflicted because maybe I am just thinking that it should be better than it actually is, and we all think that we all play Monday morning quarterback. All right, we all think we can write the story
Hmm.
better. But in some cases we can. I mean, I've heard so many great fan ideas that supersede what Super's done.
Yeah.
I mean, exactly. Yeah, it makes perfect sense to me because when you think about it, we've been thinking about a possible continuation of Dragon Ball for how long?
Since
If it would
Dragon Ball
ever
ended.
come. Everything's already been thought
Yeah.
up by now, and then when it finally gets here, it's just like, what were you expecting? Like Toriyama is many years after Dragon Ball Z and many years after Dragon Ball, I guess, since his own involvement in it, and the anime was a long time ago. I mean, it's really, when you think about it, it was very 80s and 90s, and now it's in 2000 and 16, 2015 when it comes back. So it's facing a lot of challenges right from the get-go. But like I feel
Yeah,
like
but
one
it's
of the big
also.
things.
I just want to say one thing. Yes, it's
Yeah.
facing a lot of challenges, but also the other thing it's facing is momentum from the snowball because Dragon Ball coming back in like 2005 would not have anywhere close to the impact that it would the way it came back in 2013, 2015 because more time has passed. It's given us more time to miss the series. See what I'm saying? So I think there's something to that. That the hype was building up
Yeah.
more. Plus, you have more fans now who grew up on Kai, who are now discovering Super. So there's just more Dragon Ball fans now than there ever have been in the past. It's just it's so much bigger. So I think same thing with Star Wars. They waited long enough to where it actually meant something. So continue your point. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
for some people you could argue it was 30 years that they waited or however long for like real Star Wars movies to come back out. But I did want to say though, I feel like when you were mentioning before about how we don't really know anything about the characters from Universe 6, I feel like a lot of the stuff with Super is really the potential there. Like they've introduced
Like
so
with
many
GT.
cool ideas, and then you like hear them and you see them play out, but you want to know a lot more, and it just isn't there yet. So like it could be amazing when they finally get to it and draw it out and explain
But
it.
it might not. But we might never get there because the series keeps
Yeah.
doing the same shit. And that's kind of the point of the video is that I think that a lot of us, from watching Super, we have these false expectations that eventually it'll get better. Like I've been saying to myself, personally, like, okay, it's fun to watch, but there's still issues. Maybe it'll get better in time, but it's not getting better. I mean, the last episode was like 4 episodes crammed into one, dude. Like,
Yeah.
why couldn't they? It's so fucked up the pacing in this series because Dragon Ball Z was notoriously satired for being too slow. Dragon Ball Z was the joke. Now we've got Super, which is too fucking fast. Like, there's no excuse for these, like, tournament fights in Universe 6 versus 7 to have been one episode. You could have made them longer and more interesting. More drama. Like the Dragon
Instead,
Ball
they
tournament.
spend all their time on like the Pilaf gang and shit that's inconsequential, and then we finally get to the important stuff, and it's like 2 seconds long. Why is it so rushed when it's important, but when it's not important, let's drag it all out? Who is in direction when it comes to the pacing of this show? Like, why is it doing that?
It's
Like Danny, remember I was telling you yesterday off air, Dr. Blick actually brought this up to me. He was saying that there's an arc in One Piece, for any One Piece fans out there, called the Dressrosa arc. A good length arc in the manga, pretty good arc. Anime, I forgot the reason, but there's a reason they dragged that shit for like almost 2 years. 2 goddamn years they dragged that arc. An exhaustingly long arc. But yet Toei could not drag Vegito for 2 episodes. I know people will be saying that he was just there to sell toys. Well, what the hell? Like, have him around for another episode. You know what I mean? Like, show some new moves, some new combos. You know what I mean? Show some like shit.
Well,
He
and
should have been there for more than 6 minutes.
And that's the thing people do have to understand too. Let's look at both sides of the coin. Yes, Super is here to sell toys. Super is here to sell video games. And Super is here to sell, DVDs. It's a merchandise seller. But I feel like Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z were both the same thing. They're there to sell the manga and other stuff. But I feel like Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z just had more love and more, I mean, just in my perspective, I feel like it felt like less of a cash grab. Is that fair for me to say, or am I off on that? What do you think?
I would say to a degree, but there are a lot of heartwarming moments in Super for me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying Super sucks. I'm just saying the point of this video is, should we be comparing Super to Dragon Ball Z? Because right now, dude, episode 67 of Dragon Ball Z was the epic episode where Goku shows up on Namek and fucks up the Ginyu Force. That episode is better than 80% of, I'd say 90% of what Super's given us, bro. The music, the voice acting, and that's what I'm saying. Like, this series, I hate to say it, but it has been a disappointment if you compare it to what Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z were. But is it fair to make that comparison? Are we too
that's what it
critical
really comes
of Super?
down to. It's like, do you compare it to that show, or do you view it on its own, or like, how do you view it within the vast array of Dragon Ball content? Do you compare it to the video games, even the worst video games, or do you just compare it strictly to the anime? But then again, some people compare it strictly to the manga. We have like Kendamu, read the damn manga. You have people who are very strict like manga fans, and then how do they view Super? And then again, how do you view Super relative to its own manga? Like, it's such a hard series to judge at the end of the day.
Well, and that's the point I was going to make too, is that you've got the GT fans who will sit there and they'll say, well, GT is unfairly criticized when it's compared to Dragon Ball Z. Okay, fair point. However, what the fuck else do you compare it to if GT and Super are both continuations of Dragon Ball Z? That's like saying, well, you shouldn't compare the prequels to the original trilogy for Star Wars. Well, you kind of have to, because it's the same franchise. Like, what are you going to do, compare it to I don't know, Hunter x Hunter? You can't. You have to do a comparison within itself. And if you compare Super to DBZ, it's just not even close. Like, it's got some great, you're right, there are some great moments, and this last arc, you could make an argument that this last arc was better than the Blue arc. And I would totally
I was actually, it's funny, I was going to almost tweet something about that just to rile people up, but like, there's so many issues with the Buu Saga too, like you even said earlier, that you compare the issues there and here. At least this arc built up one character the entire arc and he gets the win. In the Buu Saga, 2 characters get built up and they get thrown away. They don't amount to anything. Gohan and Gotenks. Really, 3 when you think about it, even more.
And even Piccolo to a degree too.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
I mean, I think obviously Zamasu probably saved this arc for a lot of people because
Goku Black was a great villain. I agree with that.
When you go back and look at, I didn't even know this until someone brought this up to me. When you go back to episode 53, when he's very first introduced, like, he actually has a pure heart. Like, that's what Gowasu says, oh, this tea is delicious, you're pure of heart. Skip almost 15 episodes, 12 episodes ahead, and he's this evil monster. Like, that's some good storytelling, you know what I mean? For a guy to go from pure of heart to this evil monster who wants to eliminate everybody, that's some good storytelling for Zamasu anyways. So he really did save this arc. The whole Goku Black thing really did save this arc as far as storytelling goes, but it did have a lot of problems like retcons. But Mike, me and you will fanboy over the Goku versus Cell fight any day, but we both know there is a huge ass pull retcon in that fight. The teleportation Kamehameha, hey, as long as my head's intact, I'm all right.
Yes, that's true. That is a bad retcon. It didn't bother me that much. I think there's a lot of them, but I think that the Buu arc definitely has the most. Because, Gohan turning Super Saiyan 2 was like some of the best writing because it was teased from the beginning of Z. Like, that's something that, okay, that's good stuff. On Namek, Frieza's 4 transformations, you could tell that Toriyama was pulling them out of their ass. Like, ass pulls are nothing new to the series. It's nothing new. But I'm talking about just the overall quality of Super. Like, Super, you know, it's just hard to talk about. Okay, let's just give it to the people then. The people. I'm gonna put a poll in the upper right corner of this video. Do you think that we are overly, honestly, just think about this before you click an answer. Do you think that we are overly critical of Dragon Ball Super? Should we give Super a break and understand that it's a rush series. This is a rushed series, which to some means the cash grab, but it is rushed. The budget is better, but not where it should be, and maybe it will be one day, maybe soon. You know,
I hope so.
It's rushed, and also Toriyama's just not the writer he used to be. I hate to say that. He's got some great genius ideas, dude, but he's just not. I still think his peak was probably like from the Piccolo arc to probably the Frieza saga. After that, it was just kind of like, you know, he was good.
I feel like he's very similar to George Lucas in that, like, when he runs amok on his own and nobody really reins him in, we get stuff like the prequels or the Boo saga. But then when when he gets some good like input from his studio, like he did with the Trunks and everything, you get like, the original trilogy, or you get, the Zamasu arc, or you get like the first 3 arcs of Dragon Ball Z and the original, arcs of Dragon Ball for the most part. So like it's really, I feel like maybe if they control it a little bit more, if they flesh it out a little bit more,
he needs a continuity editor. He needs a continuity editor. But also Toei,
I'll do it. I'll do it, Toei. I'll do it.
Me too. But I also feel like Toei is totally rushing this thing. Like, I personally feel like they could have taken their time with episode 6, let it drag out a little bit. I know the arc. I mean, dude, this arc is 21 episodes, let's just say. It could have easily been 30 if the way they could have fleshed things out and had more development, showed more of Trunks' training. There's little things here and there that they could have done to flesh things out, and it still would have been a comfortable view. I'm not saying it had to be 80 like fucking the Cell Saga was 77 episodes start to finish. And
what a great ride it was.
It was, but this one didn't have to be that long, but they could have fleshed things out.
They should have just had Trunks and Vegeta go into the time chamber for like 5 episodes or like 3 episodes or something, and just had like, that's one of the great things about the Cell Saga. They spent time on the training. In Dragon Ball Super, there is no time spent on training. 3 years Goku and Vegeta in the time chamber. Did we see any of it? We saw like 30 seconds. That's it. That's unacceptable to me.
I mean, yeah, it just could have been. I think Dragon Ball Super might be remembered in a few years as, it was fun to watch, but it's what could have been. I think we really need to, when time passes, I think when we go back and look at this series after it's been years and years and years and over, will it be remembered as fondly as Dragon Ball Z? I think it will not be. I think people are going to be more critical of it as years go by. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the new fans are going to dig it. I mean, it's really tricky because it is, beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
Yeah.
I'll just have to say, it's going to be like PT, man. We're going to look back at it years from now, and we're just going to say good ideas, bad execution.
You really think so?
I really think so.
I mean, but here's if it keeps going and the arcs get better, like if the next arc is a knockout,
exactly.
Like will that save the show or not?
But bro, look at this. BOG, ROF, Universe 6 versus Universe 7, Planet Patafu, and then this arc. Even if there's 2 more arcs, that's still 4 relatively atrocious to average arcs. You know what I mean? I'm just being honest.
For all we know, the next arc is going to be better than anything in Dragon Ball Z or Dragon Ball, but even if it is, which it's not going to be, but even if it is, it would be like, the show would be remembered as that show that was like all right, and then it got amazing out of nowhere, and then it was over. That was it.
Yeah.
Agreed. So let's take it to the Dragon Ball community. Polls in the upper right. Are we too critical over Super? Should we give Super a break? Let me know. Talk to y'all later. Oh, yeah, one more thing. Check out Laffy Stop Media and Geeklist. I'll leave links to their channels down below. Talk to y'all down the road. Alright guys, before we start talking about Dragon Ball Super, I got an exclusive deal for you guys courtesy of our friends at Crunchyroll. You can now sign up absolutely free for 30 days. You get a free trial, not 2 weeks. You get a whole month of premium Crunchyroll where you can legally watch Dragon Ball Super 100% legal. Not just legal, but 1080p high definition on all your devices. And it's not just Super, it's also tons, thousands of other episodes of anime. There's so much anime on here, you'll never be bored. Crunchyroll.com/geekdom. I'll put the link down in the description. Again, 30 days free. Dragon Ball Super, any show you want to watch on Crunchyroll, 1080p, no ads. You'll want to check it out. Link is down below. It's the episode you have all been waiting for. Dragon Ball Super episode 66. Interesting combination of numbers there. The Japanese name of this episode is
If you have a bank account with a brokerage firm, and you invest your money, and the brokerage firm labels you as a pattern day trader, the firm then eventually labels this person a pattern day trader, requires the customer or client to carry a minimum higher balance and confirm that they are worth a higher amount of net assets due to the high probability of eventually that client will lose their money. Now that is effing hilarious. Because in the end, they know you're gonna fail. They know eventually you're gonna get some right, but as time goes on, you're gonna have a lot of weakness, and you're gonna fail, and they're gonna drain the life out of your ass. Isn't that funny? They actually put that in an exam question study guide. Hold on. Question number 826. Imagine the guy who's going through some flipping weakness right now, people. Weakness. And I think it's probably here to stay for a little while. I think we're in for a prolonged period of maybe stunted or lack of growth, or I'm not sure what's going on. Wizards is definitely taking some extraordinary steps lately to try to litigate and try to soften this blow in its downtime. I mean, I have to admit, they're doing these new bonus packs to try to lure more people to Friday Night Magic. They restructured Standard. They're doing Eternal Master reprints. Everything's being reprinted. I mean, we're noticing a lot of very interesting things right now, and I have to admit, the biggest thing of all, Wizards acknowledges there's weakness going on right now. Flippin' weakness. And that alone is more than I can say for most companies. Most companies won't even acknowledge if something gets weak or if something's happening. They won't even do anything about it. They're like, hey Bill, are things shitty? Yes, they are, Bill. Look at the Bobs. Bobs come in. Hey Bobs, things shitty? Yeah, well, alright, cool, let's go play golf or something. At least they're acknowledging this shit. I mean, Wizards is doing actually quite a bit of things at a pretty high rate of speed, considering corporations, company, that ivory tower. You guys see that up there? They're up there. Usually it takes a long time to filter information all the way up that tower, and the fact that they're reacting very rapidly is very surprising to me. I really didn't think that they would, I don't know, respond or try to restructure or just kind of move some pieces on the chessboard very quickly. They're playing a lot of moves in a very short period of time, which is very, very fascinating to me. But the one thing we have to acknowledge is there's a lot of weakness in